Let's move forward to the homeopath knowledge series. Today's topic is allergic bronchitis, and the expert speaker who is going to address this topic is Dr. Shrutika Lalekar. She has been with HHF family since 2011. She has had the blessed opportunity to learn from Dr. Milind Rao sir for 5 years. Now she is in her individual practice and also taking care of Dr. Milind Rao sir's clinic from 2016. She has been given the opportunity by HHF to be a part of national seminars in the year April 2016 and April 2019. So we welcome you, ma'am. I requested all delegates to put their questions in Q&A box, which we can take in the last segment of the masterclass. So now over to you, ma'am. Now we are Facebook Live also, so who cannot join here, they can see us also. So we can start now.
Hello.
Yes, ma'am.
Everyone's able to hear me?
Yes, ma'am. Perfect.
Okay. Thank you, Homeopath India and Dr. Akshita, for actually giving me the very good opportunity for participating in this webinar lecture. I know the timings I have said is at 9 o'clock, but I guess there are like 100 people already. So I guess
Yes, ma'am.
It's a full house.
Yes, ma'am. And we have done Facebook Live, so more people can join. I'll just post the link in the HHF now.
Yeah. Okay.
Perfect.
So basically, I want to wish everyone an advanced Happy Diwali. And I will like to just say some things about my topic today. So the topic which I'm sharing with everyone today is allergic bronchitis. And allergic bronchitis, along with the remedy which I'll be discussing, it is very common, and it has on the physical front also, as well as on the mental front, it has quite a similarity with the pathology related to this disease. So, and I will like to share one more case. The one is in the PowerPoint presentation, one will be in a oral case, which if time permits me, I will surely like to tell about a young boy. This case is about a patient who has been, one second, I'll just start sharing my screen. So I'll just start my presentation right away. And yeah, now everyone is able to see?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Perfect.
Yeah. So this is good morning from me to everyone, because we at HHF feel that, you know, that every time for sharing is a very bright sunshine day. So let's start together. So the case which I will be starting, so there is, I'd like to pay my respects to my guru, Dr. Milind Rao sir, because of him, I'm in this position or in this place, so that I can share my experience with everyone around. And it was his teaching to us that, you know, you should share. So once you share, then you are able to understand a lot from others. Like now you are 99 people around, so I'll be very confident that you all will also be adding to my experience about things. So not wasting any time further, let us go ahead with the case. Even I like to thank everyone, Dr. Akshita, Dr. and everyone in the team who has been supportive to me in these days, you know, in because I with the case and everything, and giving me the opportunity. Now I will start narrating the case basically. So this was a case of a 70-year-old lady. She was having a complaint of coughing since a very long time, for a very long period of time. Basically, it was for more than 3 to 4 years she was coughing. But that time the cough used to be there on very small scale, or not, the uniformity was not that often. So she was kind of neglecting it, or kind of thinking that as she's 65, 67 years old, so it's okay, that, you know, you can leave it, that things can be understood. But then in the month of November 2019, she came to me saying that no, it is very, very bad. And there was, as in the case will go ahead, we will know why the complaints have come up in her, and what kind of complaints she's suffering from. If you go to see individually, she is a retired from government service, and she was financially independent. She is financially independent. Her daughter-in-law was my patient earlier, so she was brought to the clinic by her. As the daughter-in-law was my patient earlier, I knew the basic family structure which was taking place in their family, and how many members are there, what is the interaction with everyone. Because as the lecture will go further, I will tell all of you that how these small, small things, like the relationships between her and her daughter-in-law, or her relationship between her and her husband or her son, how does it matter to us, and in how does it matter in giving a proper diagnosis for the remedy as well as the disease in via the homeopathic way. So I knew the daughter-in-law, so I knew the basic IPR of the family. IPR is basically interpersonal relationships. Our guru, Dr. Milind Rao, and at HHF, we give major importance and quite an amount of importance between the IPR relation. This is the interpersonal relationship between the family, and we try to divide the entire IPR on four fronts basically. That is, the basic is the family, which is the domestic, then comes the professional, then is the social and the religious front. So the lady in this case, we can go ahead and understand whether she was suffering at what level of the strata, basically. So her daughter-in-law started talking to me very, very upfrontly, and she was very, very quiet. She was just not giving me any eye contact initially, because she was not, I guessed that she was not comfortable in the first few minutes or few seconds of the interview started. She had a handkerchief, like a kerchief in her hand, and she was continuously putting it on her face like this. And she was talking to me like this. Okay, okay. Because I then assured her to be comfortable, and I started talking with her. I did not give more emphasis on, how is it, everything, because I thought I would make her uncomfortable or discomforted, because didn't know at that time how the questionnaire will go through. So I started asking her about her complaints straight away, because sometimes, as her age was, I'm just 32 and she was around 70 at that time. So, when such a young person starts asking someone as old as her, as experienced as her, some people just shut down. They don't like to express, they don't talk. So there are different personalities, as we know. So I just started asking her straight away from the complaint. One more thing very important about case taking is that you should understand how the person is responding in front of you. If the patient is very comfortable, he starts with a smile, or he gives you a warm welcome. Because if you are just sitting in your if the patient is in the waiting area and you enter, and if the patient gives you a welcome smile, even if he's new, or if he just comes and greets you, that's a different kind of a momentum to the case. This lady, when she entered the clinic in my cabin, she was very, very soft, and she never met my eye. So I knew that I can't just be very, very, get jet set go with her. So I just started with her complaints, which a regular physician will start with. So I just asked her, how can I help you? So she knew exactly why she had come to me, and her daughter-in-law had told her that you have to tell her everything what you feel, because then only you will get the result. So she started telling me that, doctor, the complaint is mainly my cough. It is there all the time, especially when I'm talking with someone. So there is no relief. Like, even if I drink cough syrups or warm water or anything, the cough is always there. And the cough being continuous starts making my breathing heavy at times. So I just asked her, like, initially was it the same thing or it just started? So she gave me all the classical signs of little, bronchospasms in the initial. because of allergy. She says that, many times when I go for walk in the mornings, so I do feel when I'm climbing down the stairs and getting up the stairs, there is a bit of heaviness in my chest. But then she said that it might be because of my age also. So I was like, okay, this can be a condition of bronchospasm related to the age, age related. Okay. So, am I audible? Okay. So she said to me that now, then I asked her that why have you thought of coming now? Basically, what is the reason that you are managing? So one more thing is a very good tip which our sir had told us is that the patient never comes to us till the time he can manage it. So it is always the thing that when the complaint is unmanageable, that they think of going to the physician. It can be any physician, not only a homeopath, even to an allopath. So the reason for her to come to me is like now her bout of the cough had increased. Like she was coughing for at least 10 minutes on a stretch, and having a 10-minute of cough at this age leaded to, she feeling very, very tired. And as she was feeling very, very tired and she was feeling very, there must be some kind of pain in the chest area also, which was very discomforting for her. So to this, I asked her again. I felt that, do you become dull? Because this was a question I was asking her, because generally after coughing, after feeling tired, people become dull. They don't like to continue with the daily activity. And one more thing I would like to add is, even at the age of 70, this lady is cooking and everything in the house. Like the daughter-in-law does not do major part of the cooking, the mother-in-law does the major part of the cooking, as the daughter-in-law is a interior designer. So she has to move out of the house sometimes very early in the morning, sometimes at afternoons as her meetings are scheduled. So the mother-in-law is like she is there in the kitchen. So then she asked me, like, then I asked her, do you become dull? So she said, no, no, I get tired. Then I'm like, okay. So then I was like, I just got the basic information about her disease. Like, she had cough, she had breathlessness, then she was having heavy breathing, all the things. Then turned up to our case taking, because initially she was very, very persistent, and she was just answering only how much I was asking her. So the next thing which struck me is like, there is something in the chest. It is giving her that heaviness. So I'm like, how I wanted to just see how are her communicating skills with other people, because with me they were very limited, and they were very, because I thought as I'm a new person into her. So then I just asked her, the next question is, if there are guests at home, do you communicate with them freely? So she said no. To this, in that midst, I had asked her one question. I'm like, not those guests which are unknown to you, but those guests who are also known to you, like your family members, your sisters, anyone. So she said, no, to that also. And the attendant here was a daughter in law with me. So the daughter in law even added that, no, 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 she is not at all talkative. So I was like, okay. Then the patient told me that not only now, but whenever I was at office also, I used to not talk in vain with other staff members. Like I used to be do my part of the work and leave. She never had those, there are those groups in your office, and she being in government services, so there are, like, you get transferred. So there are people who know you from your earlier transfer, earlier things. So I asked her, like, do you have kept contact with people? She's like, no, not at all. So I used to just do my work, my part of the job, and leave as early as possible. I was like, okay. Then I just asked her, because as you all know, that daughter-in-law was my patient. So I asked her, do you have any stress? There was a very big initial hesitance from her side. She looked at her daughter-in-law. Then I have a window which is next to, which is a glass window in my cabin. So she looked towards it. So I was like, she did not. So I got the inkling, I got the idea that she does not want to open up. I had to tell her that, your daughter in law also has the same anxiety, same issues which you are having. So you can be free with me to talk about. Don't feel awkward about it. That also, when I told her these things, she looked at her daughter in law. The daughter in law assured her that no, no, it's okay. You can go ahead with it. Don't worry. So, accordingly. So, the daughter in law told me she never shows that she has any stress. Seeing the condition, what I knew about her family, to not feel stressed was very, very difficult. So I asked her, like, really? How can she not have show any stress? To this, I told her, then I started explaining to the patient, that a person sometimes does not express to the stress to the environment. When he or she feels that the environment will not respond the way that the patient wants to. Hence, there are cases we have the condition of allergic bronchitis is very, very common in patients who have this kind of a mental setup of patients as in people. So as I told her, she gave a slight smile or grin and looked at her daughter-in-law like this. She smiled and she started. She did not answer my this question, like what is her stress. She said to me a completely different. She just answered something very random. She told me that I am very, very positive and there is a solution to everything that you need. Okay. She told me just a very random thing which I was very much taken aback. I'm like, why is she answering in this way? Like, I'm very positive and there is a solution to all of this. One needs to be patient and then things will always happen very well. I was thinking, okay, what is what is it? Okay. So then the next, okay. So I just asked her, okay, did you ever get into any arguments with anyone? So she said, never. It has never happened with anyone outside. But with people at home, the situation is very different. My husband is of an airy nature. Airy as in अलग है उनका उनका स्वभाव बहुत अलग है. I have no communication with him. So I was very confused. I asked her, like, no communication at all. She's like, yes, yes, I don't communicate with him at all. We have stopped communicating. So I was extremely surprised because there are cases I've seen, but not like, totally. So she told me, she explained me. And as we had a very nice case taking or chat, she explained me everything very well. So she said to me that he is of an extremely weird nature. He will never give me a straight answer to any of my questions. He has never supported me in any part of my life. Doctor, tell me, she just tells me, what is the use of having any communicative relation with such kind of a person? Hence, I've stopped communicating with him totally. So, to this, I've just, in my curiosity, I asked her how many years. So, she told me 20 years. I'm like, you're sharing a house with a person and with whom you have not spoken from the last 20 years. She's like, yes, totally. Then I asked him, okay, he's your husband. So, as a wife who is 70-year-old, I thought she must be, what kind was the nature. So, I'm like, what about his food? So, she told him, I serve him. So, I said, you cook for him? I'm like, yeah, yeah. Whatever is cooked in the house, something is cooked. It is for everyone. I serve him. So I'm like, don't you get irritated on such a person? So this her daughter-in-law says she does get, but that is just for that second. Nothing after that. She also said to me, I do get irritated, but that is there for the time being. So I asked her, but there must be, as you told about irritation, there must be so much of anger against him for quitting talking with him for the last so many years. So I asked her, do you suppress your anger or do you show it? So she is like, I do give back, but just a little. The remaining is very much suppressed. So then I asked her, when you get angry, there must be retaliation na, from the opposite side. Like, he is a man, he is your husband. What is his reaction? So she says, yes, yes, absolutely. There are arguments, there is something bad sayings from his side, there is abusive language used by him. But but the daughter-in-law said to me that that is only for 5 minutes. Then she is back to her old self. In these 20 years, she has not even fought with me, like the daughter-in-law is saying. Can you imagine like the situation where there is no fight between a mother-in-law and a daughter-in-law, or no kind of argument, nothing at all? I was shocked because there has to be something, some rust, you know, vessels there has to be some noises out of vessels or something. Then I absolutely know. We have never had even a single argument. So after this, I asked her, "Do you feel remorseful, like when you have an argument, with your husband, and do you feel very bad about it? Do you feel that remorse about that situation? कि क्यों हो रहा है? ये नहीं होता है तो होता तो." So she says to me that no, I understand that he is at fault. That, but I fail to understand. She is giving herself that importance, and she's saying to that I fail to understand how come he fails to understand that we are in a family and we should be behaving as a part of a family. We have a son, we have a daughter-in-law, we have a grandson. He simply does not understand. To this, I was taken aback. I asked her, "You are very strong, isn't it?" So he says, "Yes." She says, "Yes." So then my next question was very, very common, that, because he is not at all participative in any kind of, interaction with her. So for 20 years, there must have been some or the other difficulties which must have come up, which the cumulative effect must be very, very high. So I'm like, how, if there are any difficulties or situations of crisis, how do you manage? She just looked at me in the eye and she says, and she did this gesture with me. She was here and the daughter-in-law was sitting beside. So she just did like this. I and my daughter-in-law take care of it with mutual understanding. We don't involve any third person in it. We have never felt the need to. So I was very taken aback. I'm like, she has the daughter-in-law has a husband or son. I'm like, even he is, you don't seek his help too. She is like, no, no. Even he's not involved in the decisions. Like whatever things we have to do, we have to understand. It's always done between the two of us. Like anything has to be brought in the house, anything new has to be purchased, everything is done with the, mercy of just both of us. I'm like, very good. It was like all women power in the house. Okay. So there was one more thing I would like to add, which the patient did not tell me, but I had come to know from the daughter-in-law. Basically, this was a very, very surprising and a striking moment for me, actually. Yeah. So there was one more backdrop to the history. She told me she just has one son. So but the daughter-in-law had shared with me that she had lost one son in the road traffic accident, which was after she got married, after the marriage of her first son. So it was like 18 to 16 years back, she has lost her son. in a road traffic accident 18 years back. Till this day, it was very uncommon. She has never spoken about that son to anybody. She has never even uttered his name, like matlab she has never spoken. But if anyone and no one has if they have a conversation, she just skips over that topic. She has never spoken about that person to anyone. There is not even a photograph of him in the house as remembrance. So I knew about it and was about to ask her, but she might tell me. I thought, because she was telling me so much about her husband, but about her daughter-in-law's relation with her and everything, I thought she might open up, but no, she was very strong. She never opened up about anything. She was very quiet about the fact. And she just in these 20 years, when I asked her daughter-in-law, like, there has been never any instance that his topic has come up. So she just told me, like, there was one thing, like, their house was, they wanted some papers, like some government papers. So it was in there in the room which he used to use. So she just told her in very thick words, like, just see there. She did not even tell her that see in his room, or see see, or did she take his name. She's like, you just see there. So there it was very confusing, and very confusing and shocking for me. Okay, so now the cases, I have finished with my case narration. Would anyone like to ask me any doubt? They can unmute themselves, and if they have not understood anything in my case. Should I go ahead, or anyone has a doubt about the case, or anything they want to ask more?
Pasupati, please ask your queries. You have raised your hand. Any query, please? Now I think you can go ahead. As
Okay, it was audible, right, Akshita?
yes, ma'am, perfect.
Okay.
Quite audible.
Okay. So now the further we'll go, now we can understand exactly what are we going to target in this lecture. So the main thing which I want to focus is on the IPR. The IPR relation, or the interpersonal relation, is very important in understanding when we are dealing with cases which are in the context to chronic, because it helps us very deeply. It can help us in acute cases also, but in chronic, if you want to get to the remedy faster, or if you want to understand the potency selection of these cases, it really helps us. So the interpersonal relationship, this relationship thrives between the patient and its environment. The patient cannot be separated from it. It is a very symbiotic relationship. By symbiosis, we mean that, if I am expecting something from the opposite person, the opposite person equally expects something from me, from the patient, or from the person. So it is very important to understand, how in terms the things work about. The above patient is retired personnel. So in her case, she is primarily affected by the interpersonal relationship at home. Then the main suspect can be understood as to be her husband, which she has spoken very broadly about, very definitively about it. As told by her, we can understand she shares a very cold relationship with her husband. Okay, But the relationship shared by a husband and wife, as everyone knows, has to be the most intimate one in terms of survival and sexual instinct. Now you can tell me, like, if there is, if everyone, like majority of the people around who are listening to me today must be married, or you must have seen cases. So how, if we are sitting and if our husband or if our spouse, basically, so husband or wife, just enters the room, and if we look at them and if they don't even give you a smile, if something is, going on in their mind, and they fail to give you a smile, or they fail to, greet you, something is wrong between them. So you feel it, you sense it. So similarly, this patient is very, very sensitive. Otherwise, the you can, as I'll go ahead, I will explain you that how allergic bronchitis is affected in kind of sensitivity. So when the survival and sexual instinct, so the survival is just up to the point that the lady is just performing her duty towards him. That is just, making some amount of food, and she just keeps the plate in his room. He eats it and he places it back in the kitchen. That is the only thing. They have not gone out in the last 20 odd years. They have not visited any relative together. They have not been to any social gatherings together. The husband will go to, they might be going to the same gathering, but he will go through a different mode of transportation. She and the other part of the family goes. So can you see the amount of dryness and the amount of no warmth in the relationship, basically, experienced by them? See, the things shared between them at both the physical and the emotional planes are very different. This lady is deprived from both the sectors for the last 20 years and more. But but then if I rewind the case and understanding, now I understood why did she start the first line in her case taking, which was like, I am a very positive person. I know if I have patience, good things will come to me. So this is very, very, now I got the link. Why did she say these things basically to me in the first line itself? Now we will come to know about the psychodynamic understanding. So this was a very, very different, experience which was taught to us by our beloved guru, Dr. Milind Rao. He gave us the experiences in his clinics where we understood how every emotion of a person, or every slightest discomfort, or anything, any slight emotional disrupt affects a particular point of our body, and very, very specifically and very, very definitely. So in the topic today, which is chosen by me, which is allergic bronchitis, because now is the season, why people will start having these complaints more on and off everywhere in India because of the colds arriving, and the colds and coughs all coming up in action. So we'll understand allergic bronchitis in two parts, basically. One is being the allergic part of it, and the other bronchitis. Allergic is the say, allergy is the pathology. Bronchus is basic. This bronchitis can be differentiated into two parts. There's the bronchus and the itis, which is the inflammation of the bronchus. So if we see the allergic point of view, allergy, basically, if we go by the basic understanding, there is an abnormal immune response to a foreign substance. It is caused by hypersensitivity of the immune system. Now, if you will correlate with the patient, we can understand how sensitive she must be. As in, but she was a very strong lady also. Because can you imagine that 20 years of your life, like she's 70, so all the relations between her and her husband must have started souring up after the age of 50, when she was 45, 50. So 45, 50 is that time, when the children have grown up, and you need the support of your spouse, he's your partner, you like to share things. Basically, they are the comfort zones, they are the next person you go to. But the things between her and her husband just got bitter and bitter. at that age itself. But she must have carried it out so well that, her body started expressing the pathology, you can say, at a very late, like, not very immediately, but like after 14 years, 14 to 15 years after the thing, she started experiencing slight cough or cold, or, there might be heaviness in breath, or the specifically because she never told me that if she eats something, she starts coughing. She's like, I'm just sitting idle and doing something or doing some, and the cough just starts in a bout. Okay. So, by the understandings of the allergic part through psychodynamic, there is a felt sense of conflict. Okay, this all these understandings basically we have achieved through reading a book which is the Biogenealogy source book. It is written by Christian Flesch. So, if this book is available online, so if you can get your hands on this book is very, very understanding and makes you understand very well the things, in where you can, understand why only that allergic part of her thing was affected. And one more thing I would like to tell you is that this lady does not have blood pressure, doesn't have diabetes. She just has gone through her cataract surgery, that also for the one eye only, and that is the left eye, basically. So, one more psychodynamic understanding which I would like to explain to you people is the right side of the body and the left side of the body, especially. So, the right side is generally adjourned by our side when there are a lot of responsibilities on us, and when there are related to monetary and related to finance or responsibility at work. This lady, if she would be having something related to, her responsibility would have been, like there would be no load sharing by for her by her daughter-in-law, and the daughter-in-law would be not, paying attention to her. Then I guess along with the left side of the eye getting a cataract, her right side also would have got, because she would have been overloaded. But thankfully, she has a very understanding daughter-in-law who takes care of her family equally. So, as in even when she has to visit somewhere, and if the father-in-law is at home, the daughter-in-law gives him the food. The daughter, and it's not like that the father-in-law is not communicative only with the wife. He is not communicating with any member in the family, especially. So it's like an estranged relationship for him on the other side. So the conflict of allergy, as I said to you, is abnormal vulnerability. So this lady, I came to you because, see, there are other sections also like diabetes, hypertension, which are there in at this age group, but she is not having any kind of it. So this also made me thinking, like, why is it only the cough? So then I came to understand that, okay, she is dealing with the left side of her body. That is, the nest. The left side of our body is denoted by our emotions related to our heart, like heart, which is a sensitive part. We think from the heart. So heart is, basically situated at the left side. So, uh, so that way it is a very, very good understanding. We can come to it about it. So allergies are generally, into my understanding, like if I can't say this as a statistic, or or it has to happen, but I have observed in my practice of 4 years or 5 years, and with my when I was working or practicing under sir also, like many times allergy, that they were emotionally vulnerable people in that category. Like even if now after you listen to my lecture tomorrow, if people do come to you with allergy problem, you can ask them like what is the issue. If they're not trying to open up, you can just take this as a thread to the conversation. Like is आपके घर पे सब ठीक है? आपके फैमिली में कौन है? कैसे है? क्या कर रहे हैं? So it will be a very good start to it. The next part of is the bronchus. So, if we come to know what is a bronchi, the bronchi are basically the tubes that carry oxygenated blood to the oxygen to the deep into the lungs. Within the lungs, there is a complete network, as you know, of a tree, bronchial tree, which separates out progressively into smaller, smaller branches. which end up as a microscopic respiratory bronchioles. The and the bronchi itself, the bronchial structure is composed of three materials. Basically, it's a cartilage, it's muscle, and a mucus lining. The person who has bronchitis, they are affected on all the three levels of these structures. Basically, they can be cartilage, muscle, or mucus lining. Sometimes it is more affection of the mucus lining also, sometimes lesser, or sometimes the muscular part might be affected more, or the cartilage. So accordingly, also the psychodynamical understanding for all the three is very, very different. That's why, because somewhere the mucus lining releases mucus, which is helping in, the oiling thing, the making the relationship smooth. This lady was having an issue with the mucus lining because there was nothing smooth between her and her intimate relationship. Because see, having the son on a very nice term, daughter-in-law, is quite good. It was helping her. But whatever she was expecting out of the more intimate relation in her life was not getting met up. So it was the mucus lining was also, hence whenever she was coughing, it was more of a dry cough. There was no, what you can say, there was no expectoration out of it. So she was feeling it, and hence there was pain around the chest area sometimes. So the bronchi and all the parts in the bronchus just helps to keep the lung parenchyma very healthy and very supportive for the person. Because as we know, as we are in the COVID zones, so we can realize like how the lungs are, becoming very, very, very important parts. We have started understanding like when the lungs are starting giving up, what does happen to a person. So the life is just gets, like it just takes the breath out of you. It's that said. So moving further, okay. So later, as we'll understand how to understand why the bronchus gets affected basically. Today my lecture is mainly on how you can ask questions to your patients so that the case taking will get more smoother and in a more understanding, and the patient won't be confused of what the physician is trying to ask, and the physician will be very confident of what understanding you want to ask the patient. So whenever there is a affection of the bronchi, there is a conflict in the patient's mind related to territory. Okay, as we thought, or the lungs are based in a territory. They have their own cavity, the chest cavity. It is just situated over there. Okay, so the person who has effects of the bronchus or the lungs on basic level, basically we are talking about the bronchus, but it can be understood in the case of the lung affections also, that they feel that there is someone who is lurking around them. There is someone who is around them who is not, very healthily thinking about them. So basically, they think him as an enemy. So, enemy, this word is used by Christian Flesch in his book, Biogenealogy, Source Book. He says it is an enemy because enemy is a person who can't be trusted upon. Now you tell me, why will a married woman just leave her communicating totally with her husband? Because she must be thinking now that there is no response from him and I get hurt. So someone who does some damage to us or some hurt to us is generally a person of distaste for us. We don't like to be around that person. So he has generally given the title of the enemy. This bronchitis, as everyone knows, can affect both in males as well as females. But in generally, I have in my practice, I have seen it has more been affected in the males. Like if I have treated like around 20 cases of bronchitis, then I have seen cases of males like around 10 to 12 and 8 of females basically, because males are those who are much more territory based species. They have their territory marking. Like even if you see in the animal kingdom, the other animal kingdoms also, the territory of the males generally mark their territory, like the wild animals with their urine or with their excreta, or they mark their territory. They're like, this is my territory and you should not be coming in through it. So similarly, it is very, very territory based. So the conflict area, and in the Indian society, the males are considered as the primary breadwinners in the family. So for them, being reasonably productive is very important, be it in their job, in their businesses, and in their they should feed the family. So they have an additional responsibility over them. So the conflict arises when there is a reasonable threat to their productive life, like job, businesses, everything. So the next thing is females. The females also, they come in stress, but they just come in stress when there is some threat to the family. Like for example, right now, like even in these COVID times, when the people who got, they went, the lung affections were there. There were conditions of the cytokine storm and everything. So when they felt, the patient was scared, when there was they were getting what do you say, there was quarantining. So they were taken away from their territory and they were placed in some very, very absurd territory, which was a quarantine center or a hospital, where the people were, like the doctors were equally scared. They were, completely in isolation. So there was a continuous threat of being, will I be able ever be able to meet my family? Will I be able to see my wife, my children, my mother? So they were dislodged from their territory. So now you can understand like how the territory is so important for those people who are vulnerable at the instinct of the bronchus or the lungs. And the females generally go in a stress when the family gets affected. So it can be understood, if the husband is not supportive enough, he's not giving the financial procurement, like because in this case of this lady also, my patient, she is what do you say, she was a government employee, she is getting her pension, but the entire pension gets used up in the family itself. She's not able to save any money, save anything, because she says my husband is not at all giving me even a single penny. So from the last so many years, it is just going that it's me and my daughter-in-law and sometime my son who contribute in the entire expense of the house. And if you see, if it's a 5 to 6 member household, so there is reasonable amount of money spent on it. Moving ahead. Okay. So symptoms may arise in these three things. There are threat to the loss of territory, which I told, threat to the family, as well as threat from being prevented to evolve in their territory. Basically, like now, if you are, up for some, what you can say, you are up for a promotion, and there is some, the boss does not like you, or the boss is not very much fond of you, and then if you will come and he will place someone over top of your head, and that person is not allowing you to allow you, so it's like suffocating. So you can understand, it is there is a symptom of suffocation also in bronchitis, because you get suffocated, you start coughing, and then the cough leads to a more severe bout of cough, and then there is breathlessness, basically. So there is a threat of not getting evolve in the territory also. So it is very, very quite common in people who are जिनके सर पे किसी को बिठा देता है बॉस, या उनको, they are not allowed to do take decisions on their own, or if they are, they make presentations and they are like, no, 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 this will not work, you just ask that person and do it. So he's like, oh my god, from so many years I have been working, now how come you are telling me to report to him? So these are very common things which we come across when patients do, sorry, express with us. And one more thing is there, the most thing threat leads to is a emotion which, or it is a feeling which comes out from fear. So the fear has to be there, in the in the case taking. You have to target, or you have to ask questions related to fear to that person. Like, what will happen if you start coughing? What is it? Then he will express to you, what is the fear going on in his mind. You can ask him, like, what is happening around you that you're not able to share with your person, your intimate person. Because sometimes does happen, like the mother is not, there is a sense of domination around. So because of domination, some people are not able to express. So then they get, all tightened up. So that is also the situation in uh, bronchitis. So basically, there are symptoms, which is most common is a dry cough. A dry cough is a very classic symptom in bronchitis. It denotes that there is a spasm, that there is something which is catching it, holding it. Like there is something very heavy on the chest, which they are not allowed to put out, or they are not able to put it out. So it can be two things, like there can be domination, their own domination on themselves, like no, I can't do this, like their morals might be, or their what you can say, their ego might be resisting them, their morals might be resisting them, their social position might be resisting them. So if we ask questions about all these things, the patient will just give you one or two great lines, and you have to just do is find a rubric for it. And once you find the rubric, it's so simple to find the remedy. And the there is one more thing, like it derives, it uh, denotes to getting a spasm, and a person's refusal to withstand a particular situation also. Like as I said earlier, that when a boss tells that you can go and report to that person. So I feel that I have been reporting to you from so many years now. Why has he got someone else in between the both of us? Like even if the mother-in-law is there, the daughter-in-law is there, and the husband is there. The husband was, there was a good chemistry. Then the mother-in-law shifts with you, and the husband doesn't give you time, then you feel, oh my god, what happened? Or if there is some financial decisions, like you and your husband used to take, the patient or the husband, or the husband and wife, and then suddenly there's a third person's entry. So there is always a threat in bronchitis that there is a entry of someone. So it can be a third one, it can be a family member only, it can be a total stranger also. Anything where you feel the attention becomes less. So there is some other thing also, like something tight which the person cannot let go of. Like just sometimes they are, their traditional prejudices the person does not want to go through. There are religious basis to some people's understanding. Like there are situations when you are supposed to be doing these, and the patient will be saying, the doctor, I'm not reasonable about it. I don't think why these things are happening, why I've been being pushed, I've been cornered. So all these things, they are good information in when you have a case of bronchitis. So I hope so. This information which I've shared with you has been helpful. If you can say through the chat, if I can understand, if everyone is
Yes, ma'am, it's very clear. I think no one has queries. They are very, very nice, ma'am.
okay. So now I will just go ahead and I will start my analysis. So now as I have spoken about my case, and definitely I will put the name of the book in the chat during the after the lecture, at the end of the lecture. So
Geeta ma'am has already put Biogenealogy by Christian Fletch. That
yeah,
one
yeah,
only?
yeah, sure, yeah.
Yeah, ma'am has put already.
Yeah, so then we can understand, you can all go through this book. This book is actually a gem for everyone who is, who will like to follow the case taking in the way which I have been sharing till now. So moving ahead, I will tell you things about analysis. Yes, I was talking about analysis. So analysis is very important when we are doing our case taking, because the patient tells us many things in the case taking. Some things are very important and sometimes things can create a prejudice in our mind. So if we want to reduce our prejudice while making proper case taking, we need to analyze every bit of the sentence what the person conveys to us. So moving ahead, yeah. So the analysis is very important, extremely important, as we go back and pay attention on the small details of our case. I always analyze my cases even if they are acute as well as chronic, because if we don't, then we miss out on some things. And if everyone is recording their cases, that is very important. I couldn't show you the video recording this time, but next time I will do it, because my case was in the local language and the subtitling was not possible for me to do. So the next time I will get my cases which will be subtitled, so you can understand what things to mark in a patient basically. So moving ahead, I found out, as everyone must have seen or heard or understood through the case, that the person is very mild in understanding. She was, she is sensitive, or else she wouldn't have got the allergic bronchitis. So for me, the 2 points were very clear in the initial, that it was she's mild and she's sensitive. The sensitiveness was, but if everyone must have observed, I guess now, as everyone must have heard about it, that she was very, her sensitiveness was very private to her, and she was not someone who would exhibit it, because she has answered my questions also to the point. She never went about like extra detail. Like she never gave me a smile in the whole case. She just had one or the two grinning episodes with her daughter-in-law where she was trying to, I felt, cover up on some things or some other things, but she was not exhibiting it so much. And the other thing which I found was very astonishing was that she was a primary caretaker and she was doing it without complaining. She expressed, as everyone must have heard me, just me, and you must have read the case along with, like she never complained so much, like, oh doctor, I have only to do this, I had to do that, everyone is, no one is there. She just told me what was asked, and enough. She never went over, complaining things, complaining about too much about her husband. She just said what is he stopped doing, and that's all. So there was no extra, efforts put by her. She was giving me the detail, and she was like, okay, you can ask me and answer. You will get the answer only how much I want to give you. So moving ahead, yeah. So the rubrics which I had taken were the following rubrics. I will be explaining all the rubrics in my further presentation. I will explain the remedy also very in detail and how is her understanding about it. So the mildness. Everyone must have, understood that she is mild, and on top of that, she was very reasonable. If you have observed that, it is an objectively, she was quite reasonable with me. Like when I asked her, like, have you stopped talking with him completely? So she gave me it in one sentence. She said to me, yeah, doctor, if such a person who is not sharing anything or not considering this family as his, then there is no need to be understanding that he is, uh, worth communicating to. So I found her extremely objective, reasonable. And the ailments which must have started was that she had grief with her. You can understand, imagine, like the sadness, uh, the grief or the pain this lady must have gone through, like losing a young son, and the husband who is the next person in your life who is also equally, one second. who is not at all giving any kind of a response to her as a partner. So the other rubric which I took was ailments from grief and ailments from grief silent, because this grief silent, I took it in the case, in not in the state of the husband relationship, but with the relationship, the point which I did not know was a son, basically, because I could, there are many other rubrics also, like ailments from death of loved ones, or ailments from death of a child, but I was tempted to take these rubrics, but I averted myself from taking it because she did not express it to me. But when I expressed to her daughter-in-law, the daughter-in-law says that she has a silent thing in her, but she never opens it about to it to anyone, doctor, and which was very very quite remarkably astonishing for me. So the silent grief, I did not take in the context to her husband, but in the context to the relationship she must have, the grief which she has undergone after the death of her son. And the last rubric which I took was quarreling aversion to. I guess everyone must have repertorized the rubrics by now, and everyone must have come to the remedy. So the remedy which I'll be dealing and sharing with is basically Natrum muriaticum, which is a very common remedy, and all of you must have easily come to the understanding that in some part of the case history, that this must be or this might be the remedy. Okay, so moving ahead, as everyone knows, mineral, it's a mineral, it's a salt. Now I'll be talking how natremure, as I'll be explaining natremure, you all can get an essence like how this remedy is very much in conjecture and conjunction with the pathology which we have spoken about. Okay, there is inflammation, everything is inside a cavity. So as we go ahead, we'll come to know. So it is basically a salt, and it is made up of natrum, which belongs to the first group, 1A group of the periodic table, and the chlorine which is a halogen group, which also we call as an inert gas, a non-reactive gas. So natrum is a reactive mineral, but the chlorine is a non-reactive part to it. So we can understand the mure as well as the natrum connection in this molecule. So this is NaCl, which is basically table salt, or which can be also said as common salt. So I will basically, everyone must be thinking that I am talking about from the conjecture of mind symptoms and the mind section of the repertory. But there are some indications about natremure in the materia, which are general indications, okay, which we have learned in a college, and which every one of us knows also. So there are some very very common features of natremure which I will be talking ahead also with relation to the pathology. So in natremure there are conditions like head. In head, the feeling as if the head would burst. There are very much long aches, and throbbing pains in the natremure patients, and they have pains which are generally around the eye. They are pains which are generally situated around the eye, and they are ameliorated by pressure on the eyes as well as the forehead. Because anytime if you see a patient, natremure, they have a tendency of sitting like this. They have that tendency. They are always doing something like this, which is there always. If you have observed, there are this is very common. They might be like this, or they are always like this. So these are conditions how we can understand the personality and why natremure has such kind of headache, which I'll be explaining further. Now going ahead, there is one more complaint related to the heart of it. the heart of it, that is heart and pulse. So the pulse is they are very violent, they are anxious palpitations which are aggravated, they are lying on the left side. Now you understood, like the remedy is also talking something which is on the right side. Where is the heart located? The heart is located on the left side of the body. So there is sensitiveness is there has to be in this remedy basically. So violent anxious palpitations aggravated, lying on the left side with faintness, coldness or a feeling of fluttering at the heart. And there are other things also like heart and pulse. There are sense of constriction with an intermittent pulse and dyspnea. So dyspnea is also very sometimes very common in bronchitis situations also. And going ahead, there is a condition of natriuretic with the heart's action being irregular and pulse is often intermittent. Natriuretic patients generally tell us, डॉक्टर में हमारा बीपी हमेशा लो ही रहता है, because they feel they are, yeah, there are many times they say that low bp का तकलीफ है हमको, we have conditions of low bp. So this is why, because they are sensitive, they are generally, they, because the pulse is often intermittent and they always try to take it at the they are not so reactive basically. Going ahead, there are other symptoms of natrium also which are there, especially of the skins, like itching eruptions on the margins of the hair. Then there are skin eruptions like nettle rash with violent exertion, during the times of, a lot of sweats and all. Then you have eruptions when you like to scratch and everything. Then there are eruptions like ringworms. Ringworms are also very common in these patients. Itching is aggravated by warmth. The warmth situation I will like to say further in my presentation, how in majority of the conditions of natriuretic, the situations are aggravated by warmth basically. So now we will start with my rubric understanding. So mildness, which was my first rubric. So what is mildness? Mildness is lack of intensity. The person has a lot of intensity inside, but it is hardly expressed out. Okay, it's more of an internal intensity. It's of quality of not being violent, severe, or extreme. They are totally, they embed their emotion inside, as everyone knows. They are natriureticums are generally mild. They have this quality as being very closed individuals. So they have a wonderful strength which is given to them, that is to retain. So they retain their emotions very well, and hence they make themselves look very mild. I hope so everyone is understanding and going, the flow of the lecture is going smooth. The next rubric, which, so this is a presentation of a mild person. Like this lady or this girl is thinking of something, but when she puts up a smile or puts up a thinking, we don't understand what is going on inside. So mildness is very welcoming, welcoming to understand. Now the next rubric which I had spoken about earlier was objective reasonable. In objective reasonable, there are quite a many rubrics, and natriuretic is one of them. This rubric is divided into two parts basically. The one is the objective part and the other is being the reasonability. So what is an objective? Objective is something which we are trying to achieve. Achieve. Like, I have an objective of giving the lecture today, and you have an objective to listening to the lecture. And reasonable is the lecture is, and then the second part to it is reasonable. What is reasonable? Something which is sound, which is fair, and which is sensible. So now if we go, for example, like if we go to a mall and if we are trying to buy something, like I am trying to buy a t-shirt. So I ask the shopkeeper, you have a reasonable sense of needs, what we have, like this. It should be a white color t-shirt and medium size. So we just buy this and we leave the shop. So that is the reasonability. जब भी हम reasonable होते हैं, सामने वाले को वो चीज पटनी चाहिए. he should understand. Like now, if I was saying that, how I cannot, sometimes people are in unreasonable with us. Like, no doctor, ये ठीक होएगा या नहीं, ये कैसे होएगा? So when we tell them like नहीं ये बीमारी बहुत पुरानी है तो आपको टाइम लगेगा. हाँ हाँ वो तो ठीक है डॉक्टर, बट स्टिल आपको पता है ना हमें ये है वो. So this is a situation when they are not reasonable with us. So that is an unreasonable thing. But Natramure is majority of the time very very objectively reasonable. So when she was telling me why should I continue my life and my relationship with such a person, it is better that I stop it and I stop communicating it. She must also be thinking, oh god, at this age I can't leave him, so at least we live separate lives in the same house. So natramutes are people who, as mentioned earlier, are very restrictive in expression. So when they are expected to be told to do something that is outside of their comfort zones, they go in a very defensive mode. So if I would like to, if I would have suggested this lady that you just try sometime that you have a communication with your husband, they go in a defensive mode. No, 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 no. They will start giving you reason which you find is quite objectively reasonable. So that is their defensive mode. They try to justify their actions, giving a sound and fair statements which are reasonable to the environment. Then, and in return, the environment, which can be the physician or the opposite person, they get easily convinced by it. Like they say ऐसा ऐसा है, then we're like हाँ 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 वैसे भी ठीक ही है, no problem. Okay, the patient, as I said, was also being objectively reasonable as she was answering about her husband and her chemistry, about the answers she was giving to me about her husband and the chemistry between them. Moving ahead, so this is logical reasoning to it. So they always think before they answer. Natramure will never give you, will never question you abruptly. They will always think and then they will answer. It is very, very characteristic about them. In objectively reasonable also, they will, the objective reasonable person, they will understand what the physician is asking them and then they will respond because they have to use their mind to it. They can't be, they always can't be emotionally driven. The next rubric which we shared was ailments from grief. So ailments from grief is, this was a very important aspect of any remedy which we study about, and especially for natramure. So they give us an important see-through in any case. During analysis, this facet can be understood very well as, like I'm talking about the ailment from part of it. Okay, the grief part will be explained later in the next coming slide. So ailments from is very important for us. We come to know what is going through in the case, what is the most important part is the ailment from. During analysis, this facet can be understood very well as the patient himself gives very importance to the ailment. Like even this lady, she was telling me the husband is this, the husband is not caring, is not communicating. She did not complain anything more about the other aspect of her life. And she never thought it important to share that detail of ailment from her son's death because she must be thinking that is the past. Now is not, now that thing is not hurting me. I am very, very strong enough to take care of that part. But let me share with the doctor which is current situation which is affecting me. So during analysis, this facet can be understood very well as the patient gives a lot of importance to ailments from in his or her case narration. You can also mark it as the SAR point in any case. आपको कुछ नहीं समझ रहा है केस में, you can just keep on asking them the ailments. कैसे हुआ, क्यों हुआ, क्या हुआ, किस तरह हुआ. They will give you the complete summary in that. This is a situation of the ailment, and this is a situation of being in grief. Now you can see how is the makeup of this man, and I have even shared a picture of the lady basically. So this is the way the person seems in a grief. Grief, as in natrimure, is the mother emotion felt by all the natrums basically, sorry. And natrum muriaticum has a base emotion is the grief, very, very attached to its grief. It is described as very great sadness. It comes from the being heavily disappointed in someone or something. If you go ahead, if you see the dictionary meaning, this is written that they are very, very highly disappointed, and then you fall in the trap of the grief. And as you knew, this female, she was heavily disappointed by her husband, and grief is carried by natrimure in itself. They carry a leave me alone attitude when it comes to the topic of being in grief. They like to be it in that situation. They sometimes don't like to get an exit escape mode out of it. They like to be there, feel it totally. So there are lots of rubrics how they experience their grief also with. They don't like to be bothered when they are sulking, and they become very private with their grief. So this lady was sulking and was very private with her grief in relation with her son, and was very objectively reasonable with her grief when it came to her grief about her husband. Is it audible? Is it how the lecture is going smooth?
Yes, ma'am. Awesome. Amazing. All fine.
Okay. Now the next rubric which we will come through is natrimure is ailments from grief, silent grief. So they have one more, trait in them that is very, 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 very characteristic to natrimure. That is, they feel they are always hurt most from the person whom they love the most, and going ahead, they feel unwantedly embarrassed about it. So whenever a patient comes to us and starts talking about the portion of grief, and if you understand now that they are not giving you that eye contact after some time, you should start understanding that they are feeling awkward or they are feeling embarrassed about it. So that's the time you should stop asking them question, divert to some other topic. This is a tip from me for natrimure, because if you feel that the patient has started becoming uncomfortable in front of you and you are thinking it is natrimure is there in, she is natrimure or he is natrimure, you stop the questioning over there, because you can't put them into their gray zone. Basically, they always suffer in silence as they don't want their inner weaknesses to be exhibited in the grief. Hence, the lady very efficiently started the interview by saying, I am a very positive person, I am a very strong person, I am like this, I am like that. Hence, in that way, they have to constantly work hard. One more tip is that natrimures always have to work hard to stay happy. Like, if they have come somewhere, and they are they are if you give a surprise to a natrimure patient, like if there is a birthday party and if you're surprising a natrimure, so natrimure will be like 10 people will just pop out and like happy birthday. So instead of feeling surprised, natrimure will go in that zone, will be like, oh god, so many people now, oh my god, I have to make something so much for them, अब मैंने कुछ लाया नहीं है, मैंने कुछ बनाया नहीं है. She will feel more than feeling happy that so many people have come around, to celebrate a special day. She'll be thinking, oh god, how will I serve them, because they are in the attitude to be very proper, very exclusive, very, very to the point, as as every one of us knows. And the last rubric which we came to know was quarreling aversion to. As she said, I never quarrel. I don't like to quarrel. I don't feel I. So why, because they don't like to quarrel is not because they don't have the ability. Because if you see the rubric quarrelsome, there is natrimure in it. They are quarrelsome. But they generally don't like to quarrel because they feel that their inner wretchedness or their inner incapability will be easily shown outside, and that is totally the hell feeling for Natramure. They will never like to be, exhibited in the most unwantedly way. Like everything which shows them the mirror is totally unexpected for them. So whenever they have a quarreling, they just go, they detach themselves, they look somewhere else. They will not go into that quarrel zone. But if it goes, there can be exceptions. I'm not saying so. You might have found patients who are equally quarrelsome also, but that is in very rare cases, or when they feel they have to, or their dignity might get challenged. That is a thing, because the boiling pot for point for any Natramure patient is their dignity. Dignity is their ego. They carry their dignity as any other person will carry their ego. They feel they are made up, they're dignified, because they feel the people, I myself is important. I have that importance because I am worth it according to them. Okay, so now moving further, I will just say some things about this very common remedy. So now, as you understood, as we were talking about the condition of bronchitis, and now if we are talking about Natramure, so bronchitis, the bronchus are structures which are territory based. Okay, so they are what you can say, they are conjoined, they are very much held together. Similarly, Natramure's presentation is also held together. Okay, so they are also very, very held together. They don't like to exhibit out of the place. They are very, very restrictive. They know how much is their, surface area, or how much is their, how much they should express, how much they should not express. So in bronchitis also there is no uh, uh, there is situation where there is not given enough opportunity. So if you see, there are conditions and domination rubrics, you will find Natramure in it. Okay. Then when there is over ambition, or there is a rubric in which there is ambition deceived, so equally there also you will find there also you will find Natramure's patients. Sorry, you will find Natramure in that understanding. If you see chest complaints also of Natramure, if you are seeing on the physical front, you will find symptoms related to it. So as you know, it is common salt. It's a common substance found on the planet Earth. Similarly, people belonging to this medicine are also found very readily around. Like it is the most common remedy around. Like in our OPD also, they are quite handful. Like if you are seeing like 10 to 20 patients in a day, like unme se 6 to 7 have to be, 8 to 10 have to be Natramure. It's very common, and it is one of the very well proved remedy also. Okay, so now there are some facets of the disease which I was talking, and some facets of the remedy itself. So we can understand retention. Retention is something when we retain ourselves. So in bronchitis also there is no communication, there is no expression. When the person goes to communicate, there is cough which makes him embarrassed, which restricts him. So similarly in Natramure also there is a very important fact of retention. So Natramure have the quality of retention. They have the characteristic for bottling up their emotions very well. This can be seen on the physical pain aspects also. They will be having a very bad pain, but they will not show that they are suffering. Why? Because they will retain it. Similarly, this female had complaints of her from her husband from a very long time, but her body took such a long time for the expression, because the body was thinking, let me retain it, let me retain it, let me see how things go ahead, how much I can I, you know, how much can I tolerate it. So they feel that their tolerance is very, very unique to themselves. So the emotions that they have are very much absorbed over the time, are wrapped up in them very deeply. They tend to absorb the negativity very easily. This makes them very sensitive, compassionate, affectionate, and loyal to others because they feel as I can understand my pain so easily, so I can be easily and I can very easily understand people across. So this makes them very sensitive, compassionate, affectionate, loyal. So people who are very very much affected by those causes related to nature. Now Natramure is there in the rubric nature's love also, so they are affected by conditions like related to animal welfare, like nature's welfare. Now there are conditions like there are environmental causes, social causes happening around. So many people who are moved by the plight of such people can be natramute because they feel जो किसी का दर्द नहीं समझ सकते उनको मैं समझ सकता हूँ, या जिनको कोई नहीं समझ सकता उनको मैं समझ सकता हूँ. So they are very very subjective to pain and subjective to the suffering of them and others also. I'm moving ahead. The next is melancholy. So the other very very prescriptive aspect of uh, natramure is the melancholy. They thrive on their emotional turmoil. They cannot forget things at all. This depresses them so much that they are never able to come out of it and they don't derive any pleasure in anything. So even if you see this, this was very common with the lady and her condition also. Because of her going through melancholic situations at home with her son's death, she was not able to be that expressive, and that was a part and parcel of her condition. Now, as we say, it is a very common understanding of old grief and new grief. It has been understood from the time we have started learning our homeopathic materia medica. Like natramure is given in the times of old grief as well as ignatia is given in the times of new grief. But one more very characteristic thing which I found out about natramure is that there are patients, who say to us that time can heal everything, बट नॉट माई सॉरो एंड माई मेरा दुख कोई कम नहीं कर सकता है. वक्त सबका इलाज कर देगा पर मेरे जख्मों का इलाज नहीं कर सकेगा. दे कैन बी natrimure because the hurt and pain natrimure has is so deep that they become very very captive of their own pains itself. So they are basically masochistic. Masochistic is also one rubric which we can find out. Is those people who find a kind of pleasure in expressing or loving their pains. They उनको pain experience करने में they find a different kind of pleasure totally. It is said that time heals everything, but for natramure feels it doesn't do anything like that. So they keep on grieving on their own things. But when they are subjected to it, like अरे तुम्हारे टाइम में तो ये हुआ था, क्या हो रहा था, तो दे विल बी लाइक नहीं नहीं ऐसा कुछ नहीं है, वो तो क्या है सबके लाइफ में ही तो प्रॉब्लम होती है, सबके घर पे तो कुछ ना कुछ होता है, तो उसमें कोई तकलीफ की तो कोई बात नहीं है. So this is the next rubric, that is affectation. So affectation is a behavior or speech that is not sincere. Natramure, they have always may wear a mask and a charade, saying that everything is fine. And hence, they are the patients who do not lightly ready to divulge things to us. In the case taking, they will avoid it, or even if they will get a hint that we are probing them, they will easily shut down because they feel that no, मेरे को मुझे कोई तकलीफ नहीं है, I'm fine, I can take care of myself. So even if there are very very bad situations around happening around them, they will be acting like oh I'm so fine, I'm perfect, and they will do some gestures in front of us. If we go to probe them, they will start folding their arms, they might go back in their chair, or they might start doing these things with their lips, like they start pinching their lips like or even if you start asking them some questions which are going to make them difficult to deal with, they just look at you and they just make a strong eye contact with you. So once you that it is like they make you understand that it is your duty that to stop it. They will say that they have overcome all the trauma in their life. They try to put the brave picture, but basically they don't. They can't. And one more thing which is very, very classic about things is warmth. There are many symptoms in natremure that are aggravated by the sun, because sun is the sign of positivity, light and happiness. Natremure is particularly not fond of it, as she revolves around in grief and brooding. और अगर उनको लगेगा कि अगर सब चीज if and sun is the sign of positivity, if there is a room full of sunlight, nothing can be hidden, and natremure in general wants to hide everything. So if you will observe, like whenever they go out, they will say if we go out in the sun हमारा सर दर्द होता है. So if you think the psychodynamic understanding, we can relate to this, thinking that if you bring out the everything comes out in open, then nothing is private, then their wretchedness or their ill-gotten side will come out. So that will be very, very bad for their self-image and for their own dignity. And there is a fear that her affectation will break. The thing which she is trying to keep up, hold up, will break away. So they don't like to come out so much in the light. And the last state of which the natremure patient is always very much scared of is wretchedness. So wretchedness is an extreme unhappiness and is a state which which natremure feel completely harrowed down by. So they don't want to come to terms with this state ever in their life. So similarly, this patient wouldn't have come down to me in the time. She would have gone into the state of wretchedness. Basically, she was still the time of affectation. She was holding up. But somewhere the body was telling her that no, now you need help. You need to see the doctor. So the body started increasing the number of frequencies of her cough so that the patient can go around and take some help. One more thing I would like to say is that disease just doesn't come up to any person. It comes up in order to make the body to survive through the going on stress. Because if there would have been no diseases, there would be no help taken by the person. And as there would be no help, there would be no continuity to the life. Exactly. So moving ahead, I'd like to thank you everyone, all of you who have been listening to me patiently from the last 1.5 hours or more than that. And if you all have any query, kindly ask me so that I can share my experience with you.
One query was, why not Ignitia?
Okay, the Ignatia patient is always, they both are very, very sensitive. Okay, but there is a condition that Ignatia is most in the rubric despair of social position. Okay, so there is social disputes are always there. This patient never gave me anything. They are very, they are. She did not give me any lead into it. So for me to understand, and basically when the patient gave me the question of being objectively reasonable, and Ignatia is not there in that rubric of objectively reasonable. So for me, this case mainly revolved around the rubric of objective reasonable.
Anyone has queries, please raise your hands. I'll unmute you so that we can go ahead with the session. Please let me know if anyone has any queries. What about the potency, ma'am?
The potency which I gave to this person, with this lady, was 1M. Now you have asked me the pathology is deep, then why did you give 1M? So 1M in with us, the potency selection should be around what amount of mental stress the patient is dealing with. I felt 30 would have been a very low potency for her because she was going through a lot of trauma. The management cause, which is her husband, is around her 24/7. So she can see him going in, coming out of her life every time, every day. So to make her stress free, I suggested her the higher potency, which was 1M. And I had given about the follow-up, which I forgot to tell. I always give medicine to the patient in the clinic itself. So as she was having the cough episode, I gave her the medicine there and then. And within I told her to sit out, and I saw the next patient. So within 20 minutes, she came out and she told me that the bout of her cough has reduced, and within a week her symptoms reduced. The patient is still there with me, but now she is still only taking SL from me, because as you know, because of the COVID situation around, she was taking it as a preventive medicine. Now the patient is doing to completely, she is hale and hearty, and the cough has totally stopped.
NM has fear of robbers. What is that about?
Fear of robbers. Okay, robber is someone, na? See, there is a thief and there is a robbery. Okay, so there are two different understandings. When there is a robbery, na, that robbery has to can happen in any daylight. Okay, रॉबरी कभी भी हो सकता है, जिसको हम लोग चोरी बोलते हैं. पर डकैती डकैती, there are two factors. There is dacoity and there is robbery. Natrimure basically has fear of robbers because robbery can happen in any broad daylight, कभी भी हो सकता है. So as I explained ना, that she has a mask on her face. So अगर कोई आ गया and a robber just holds you at the gun point and you have to give away everything to you away, तो उसका सब जो मास्क है ना वो गिर जाएगा. So उसको ऐसे कभी situations ना, unprepared situations अच्छे नहीं लगते. So that is why Natrimure always will have fear of robbers, because robbers can just take anything out of you at broad daylight. So there is a element of surprise in robbery, and Natrimure does not like any element of surprise. So if you see all her rubrics, na, they are very very to the point, like being proper to, then being very very elegant, then being very very up to mark. So they don't like any elements of surprise in their life. So robbery always has an element of surprise that way. So she will be very fearful of those things.
Ma'am, can you please explain light desire for Natrimure?
Okay,
Your version, what the version can be for the patient?
like this patient.
Yes, ma'am. Basically, I think so. What I can get from the question.
Okay, so in this question, I did not take light desire in this room in my case taking, because that patient was not. She was brought to me by her daughter-in-law because she was suffering. Nor she because the daughter-in-law and her grandson were taking my treatment from a very long period. So she knew that homeopathy will help her, but she never placed the point that मुझे लेके जाओ, which is a very dignified stand of Natrimure. Natrimure will never tell you कि मुझे आपकी मदद चाहिए. Natrimure will always expect that सामने वाले को समझे कि मुझे जरूरत हो सकती है. Okay, so then she expected the daughter-in-law. The daughter-in-law suggested her, and she came to me. In other cases of light desire, na, when something of an embarrassing situation happens around the Natrimure, so there she just wants to escape out it from it, because there is escape in rubric attempts to me, there is Natrimure. So they like to escape out of that situation. So उधर उनको light चाहिए कि थोड़ा सा light मिल जाए, so I will take care of myself and I will be fine. I don't want to be totally dependent on other person. So similarly, one more differentiating point between Ignatia and Natrimure, which I will like to tell you all, is Ignatia is in carrot desire to be, and Natrimure is not in carrot desire, because when we want to be carried, we put our entire load on that person. Where somewhere even Ignatia does. But Latrimure will never and never put her entire load. She'll just tell me, you show me the way, I will go through it. So that is the thing. That's why that lady, when she spoke to me, told me that you be patient. I am patient. I know I will get light in my life somewhere or the other time. So somewhere there is hope also. She must be feeling that her husband might mend his ways with her. But she was not so direct about it. So this is the light. They expect it also, but they don't show that they expect it. So it can be very tricky in the case of natriumur.
Next question is can you please explain delusion thieves in house?
Okay, that's what I said now, that explain, sorry, it's delusion thieves, yeah?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, okay. So delusion is something, as everyone knows, like there is something which is our strong understanding. So now if you tell me like there is a person, the natriumur is staying with in a house with, or in the, that house can be anything like her workplace, it can be her professional life, it can be a social life, anything, but she always will find that one person who will be there, she feels that he or she can hurt her. And thief is basically someone who is very injurious to that person, injurious to us. So the person who gives us the most trouble is a person who is a thief. हम बोलते हैं ना, वो मेरी सुख शांति लूट 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 लिया है उसने, मेरा सुख शांति लूट लिया है. So this is very common say, one more common say in the case of natriumur. And I would like to appreciate that person who has asked this query, that delusion thieves, because ये ये natriumur बोलता है बहुत बार कि we take it as, you know, being pursued or persecuted. In delusion, persecuted and pursued also there is natriumur. But he feels that the one person who is constantly affecting her is that thief, who is there just to cause her harm.
Ma'am, there are some questions which are not related, so I think they can post me in personal, then I can ask you and then we can share in the group. Or you want to take them? Diabetes and all.
Diabetes as in what?
They want to know the psychodynamics.
Okay, the psychodynamics about diabetes I will like to share is, see, it is, and I will like to tell you one more thing, like why this lady is not suffering from diabetes. Okay, diabetes is a hormonal complaint, as every one of us knows. Okay, so diabetes is generally, if you are, when you read through the book, and there is a line which says that diabetes is when the insulin stops getting secreted or gets lessened, secreted in a less way. So what happens is basically the financial portion, the financial status of our life, when it gets challenged, that time it is the thing that the insulin really starts getting reduced. The pancreas start suffering. So that is a time when slowly, slowly, eventually, the insulin secretion will decrease. In your cases, you can see that when there are cases of diabetes, it is a proven fact. Like in 90% of the cases, there is stress about uh, finance. There has to be, like, you know, at least her income has got reduced, the husband has stopped working. But one more thing I'd like to say, in diabetes, the chronicity is there. So this state has to continue for some time, like 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. Like 2 महीने पहले तकलीफ हुई कि पैसे कम हो गए या जॉब छूट गई, और फिर डायबिटीज आ गया. दिस कैन बी रीजन, बट नॉट many of the time. So you have to be very careful in case taking also. So आपको पूछना पड़ेगा कि डायबिटीज आपको क्यों लग रहा है, क्योंकि कभी कभी शुगर ऐसे ही कम नीचे होती है. So you have to be very careful when you are asking doubts, asking your questions to the patient.
Ma'am, the repetition which are needed in such cases, the next thing.
Yeah, so in see, it is on bronchospasm. So in bronchitis, the main reason is bronchospasm. So we should understand it's an elastic muscle. It is, so these muscles, they can go in stricture. So we should, whenever, if the person who is coming to us with bronchitis, we should always ask him, we should never change the dose without again taking the recase. That episode is very, very important to understand. We should ask him, is there any fear? Because sometimes what happens is just a slight deviation and they will feel something. And if we give a potency, repetition of potency, it can aggravate the situation. So we need to ask him or her, like, is there a fear? He'll say, yes, yes, मुझे डर तो लग गया था डॉक्टर. So we should confirm कि डर वैसा ही लगा था जैसे पहले लगा था या कम लगा. Then he will tell you, नहीं नहीं उतना नहीं लगा पर कम लगा, पर लगा डॉक्टर. Then we should say, then you can give him the normal Saclac. You give him Saclac. If that patient gets settled with Saclac, then no need of repeating the dose again. Because I had to repeat Natramur. I gave her 1 m in the initial. In the second time, what happened because of this COVID zone, the patient's husband, he was traveling somewhere and the lockdown got announced. So he got stuck in a place. So she came to me with a genuine need. Hey, doctor, sorry, but I'm having a bout. I mean, what happened? Like, "Nee, nee, my husband was going, the same husband, as you can see now, that he was going, but he got stuck somewhere. But I'm fearing something might happen or not happen. So I'm like, are you really getting? Because I thought Natramur has created some wetness in the emotion or some change. Then no, no, doctor, not that. As it is, he's in some unknown place, so I'm scared. I gave her SN. She was able to settle down. But when the COVID thing came up, and she called me again that doctor, now the COVID has come up, so I'm already a bronchitis patient, so something you need to give me. So I knew somewhere down the line she might fear will come up, or the fear is very strong, seeing her age. So at the start of April, I had given her 200, and again I needed to repeat the 200 in these 2 days in the last 15 days because her husband has come back.
The
So
trigger.
now, yeah, because now he was not there with them for the last 7 months. He was at the native because he had got stuck there. So to make, why I gave her is also an understanding to make her safe. Because we'll be like, nahi, chalega, aap le lo. And if she goes into a spasmic situation, it might be a middle of the night. As you know, the fear generally is a trigger of the night. So it's always better that I had prepped up, I gave her, she just took it once. So we need to understand before any case taking or before even in the follow-ups, kindly take your follow-ups very seriously with patients with bronchitis.
So if anyone else have queries, please let me know. So I think, ma'am, we have done with the queries. Thanks a lot.